We've just released version 6.1 of EasyMorph. Let's take a look at what's new and improved. One of the biggest changes comes to connectors stored in a hub space repository. When creating a connector of a supported type, we must now choose whether the connector should have shared authorization or per user authorization. For shared authorization connectors, all users who run a workflow which uses the connector share a single set of authorization credentials, such as a username and password or an API key. They also use common connection settings, such as the server address, port number, or database name. This means shared authorization connectors work in the same way as connectors always have in EasyMorph. For per-user connectors, there is still a single set of common connection settings, but each person must provide their own authentication credentials and are not able to use the credentials provided by anyone else. If a user has not provided their own credentials, they cannot use this connector. When creating a per-user connector, the person creating it still configures both the connection and authentication information. The authentication information will be stored only for the user creating the connector. When a different user tries to use the connector, they will need to enter their own credentials, which equally will only be stored for them. An icon shown next to each connector indicates which type it is. In the last release, we added a new connectors feature to EasyMorph Hub. In this release, we've added to it the ability for Hub users to provide their credentials for per-user connectors. Note that per-user connectors are considered experimental, and as such, in version 6.1, per-user connectors can only be created for Postgres databases and Microsoft OneDrive. We'll be adding support for more connector types in the future. EasyMorph Hub Explorer has also received a huge new feature called Queries, which lets you create, organize, and execute SQL queries against any database which EasyMorph can connect to, such as Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, MariaDB, and Postgres. Queries are organized into query books. When creating a query book, we give it a name and specify which database connector the queries in the book should use. We can then create our first query within the query book. The query editor is made up of a few main sections: the SQL statement, the query results, and the database tools. We can write or paste our SQL query into the SQL statement window. The database tools allow us to select table names or field names and insert them into our query. Once complete, we can save our query so that we can come back and run it anytime we need. Clicking on Run Query will execute our query statement, and the query results window will show us the data returned. As with any dataset in EasyMorph, we can open it in Analysis View, where we can add filters and explore the data. We can also download the data as a CSV file, Excel spreadsheet, or other file types supported by EasyMorph. The next new feature is a big deal because it makes it much simpler to use the data you have in EasyMorph in other tools and systems, such as BI platforms, other data or ETL tools, Excel, or anything else which supports loading data from an OData feed. To use this feature, we must turn on the API server option in the space settings. Once enabled, the API endpoint option will appear in the left-hand navigation bar. As well as the existing REST API capability, a new OData tab allows us to expose any EasyMorph dataset file as an OData source. We can easily create a new endpoint, give it a name and a URL path ending. If we then edit the endpoint, we can choose the EasyMorph dset file we want to use as the data source, specify which fields we want to expose, and define the data types for those fields. We then save the endpoint. We can copy the public URL, which we can use in our other system to access the data. How we use this URL will vary depending upon the system. Let's look at Excel as an example. Excel supports loading data from an OData feed. We can simply paste in the URL we copied, and Excel will connect to EasyMorph, loading the data from our dset file. A small but really useful improvement to tasks is the addition of the ability to collapse and expand task groups. There are options to expand or collapse all groups, or each group can be expanded or collapsed individually. This ability is particularly useful if you have a large number of tasks to manage. Metric assets in the EasyMorph catalog can have thresholds, which define conditional formatting for them. Up until now, thresholds could only be managed in EasyMorph Desktop. In version 6.1, thresholds can now be added and edited directly in the EasyMorph Hub. We can simply add thresholds, defining the numeric boundaries for them, then choosing how each threshold should be displayed. Our metric is now formatted according to its value. In much the same way, state assets can have rules to conditionally format them, which can now also be managed in the Hub UI. Let's add two rules to format the state green when it displays online and red when it displays offline. Just like our metric, the state is now formatted according to the value it displays. In version 6.1, we've also added lots of options to allow you to control the look and branding of Hub. We can now change the logo, name, colour, welcome text and homepage banner to suit your organisation's branding. Or you could change the colour to help differentiate between different environments, such as blue for production, green for testing. We've also added links to the Hub homepage, which you can add and customize as needed. Issues in boards can have lots of different files and links attached to them. When attaching an asset from the Explorer catalog, which is computed, such as a computed dataset or computed web link, we are effectively attaching an EasyMorph workflow, which is run when someone opens the attachment. With version 6.1, when attaching a computed asset to an issue, you can now optionally specify what parameter values should be used when someone opens the attachment. You can even specify if EasyMorph should prompt the user to enter their own value for the parameter. In the same way as attaching computed assets to issues, when computed assets are used in shortcut sections of Explorer boards, you can also now specify the parameter values which should be used when the shortcut is run. Again, you can prompt the user to provide their own parameter values. Not to be left out, EasyMorph Desktop has also received a new dialog, which is shown when clicking on the Add New Data button on the toolbar. This dialog makes it quicker and easier to find and load the data you need. For more information about the changes in this release, check out the blog post on our website at easymorph.com, as well as the detailed release notes.